Welcome to the first battle between Evilbot playing as the Seleucids versus Johnny playing as the Macedonians. Now Evilbot, he has gotten himself 5 cavalry units in this battle. 2 of them being light Tyrosi cavalry, 8 speed cavalry. They have 2 precursor javelins. They can hurl, they can still pin the enemy in place. But they're lightly armored. And then he has some citizen cavalry. These are melee cavalry. They have 6 speed. So they're lighter. They're slower. They will lose on the charge against shock cavalry, but then they have a good melee defense and good armor, so they can hold out while supporting infantry or elephants or something else can support them. He also has 4 units of Tyrosi spears, and these men are designed to help with the cavalry. They can hold against enemy infantry, but their primary opponents should be engaged enemy cavalry. They can definitely hold the flanks against Tyrosi spears. They will beat them. But again, their bonus is versus cavalry, so you want to use these men against cavalry. And then we have 4 units of these Tyrosi spears. And their angles, so they have some protecting the some of them are with the cavalry, and some of them are protecting the infantry here. The infantry swords of the Hellenistic nations are very light and very vulnerable to cavalry, so you need to have spears not only with your cavalry but with your infantry as well. So this is a good placement here by the Seleucids. He has 4 units of these Greek infantry, and they are a weaker version of the Tyrosi Tyrosi swords. But they still have 3 javelins, and against if they're placed over here, and 2 of them placed over here, and they manage to hurl at the unshielded side of a pike unit, they can still do a lot of damage. And these men are cheaper to take than a Tyrosi swordsman. He has 5 units of bronze pikemen, and these are heavier versions of Sarissa pikemen 2 speed. The Seleucids have access to silver shield pikemen that have 3 speed, and that would have allowed you to maneuver a little bit, but it's still going to be equal on like frontally. It's going to be very even. And since he has 5 cavalry units, he could potentially pin, like get himself a good hammer and anvil. Now let's take a look at Johnny's army. Johnny has gotten himself a Scorpio, and this is an anti-cavalry unit. He has 5 units of bronze pikes to pin the enemy down. He has 3 units of these white shield infantry, and these men have a good charge. They can help against cavalry, but their primary focus is to deal with elephants. So the Seleucid Indian elephants here have gotten themselves some opposition over here. Then we have 1 unit of Greek infantry here for Johnny. He simply went out of funds, so he needed to downgrade himself a little bit. But he has also, besides these white shield infantry, he has Tyrosi swordsmen. These men have a little bit better melee stats than the Greek infantry, and also a little bit better morale and all that. So slightly a little bit better, simply. And then Johnny also has 3 units of royal pikemen, and these are shock pikemen. And these men will fight with swords if they're not in phalanx. Put them in a phalanx though, and they will butcher lighter infantry. And the Tyrosi swordsmen have 4 speed. So they can definitely, if a Tyrosi spear is engaged with a Tyrosi swordsman, and the Tyrosi spear tries to run away, the Tyrosi swordsman will catch them and kill them. These men can keep up the skirmishers, so They can keep the skirmishers of the enemy running. And they can run down routing and enemy infantry for you. So you can still hammer the enemy infantry with your cavalry. And Johnny has good shock cavalry here. He has this Sacred Squadron General. He's a shock version. He has 200 men. So he has an advantage against 100 man units of the enemy. And he has 3 units, so Lancers. Very fast, aggressive cavalry here. The only thing they lack is armor and melee defense. But the charge is very good. So off the bat, based infantry wise, Johnny does have an advantage here. He has better swordsmen than the Seleucids, and he has shock pikemen. It will really come up to these elephants. The Scorpio will zone out cavalry. So what needs to be done here is that you can clearly see that Johnny is going to attack this side over here. You need to hold this side as much as possible, and this side will have to maneuver in such a way to keep Johnny aware of there's a threat here. But these elephants are not, however, threatened by the Scorpio. So these elephants are free to move up to an angled position. Either you try to angle your pikemen and your army, for that matter, sideways, so that these men will have to expose their flank a little bit more, or you angled your elephants up to here, perhaps, and because you can have the freedom to maneuver your elephants where you want to. Johnny will always have to consider where your elephants are and hold back infantry so he can deal with the elephants. But this will allow you to counter the other offensive units that are moving up. However, let's start the battle. You should note that these Seleucid horsemen are placed so they can hit the unshielded side of the enemy. It is very good to do so, because even bronze pikes or heavily armored units, if they get hit on the unshielded side, they will take a lot of damage from it. And these pikemen are quite expensive, so having cheaper swords deal a lot of damage to pikemen, it's just a win. And since Johnny already has better infantry than what the Seleucid player brought, then he has an advantage. Now, if Seleucid player could use his cavalry advantage, the cavalry advantage has advantage in numbers. This general could be moved over here, and this cavalry can be moved. The Seleucid spears should move back here, so he can help add some support units here, because you need to tie down enemy infantry here. If you're going to go attack on this side, you need to then angle yourself sideways here, so that Johnny will have to turn to give your elephants a more flanking opportunity here, meaning he will have to hold back his other troops to deal with the elephants. Johnny's Scorpio is at fire at will, and he's shooting the central pike unit. Because pike-wise it's like exactly the same. Johnny does have a flank advantage. He has the Scorpio, so he can deal with cavalry coming too close. Just by weakening up the pikemen now in the center as well, he has the option to actually push the center if, for example, the flanks are covered.
Happy to serve the people.
Pikemen, the infantry of Johnny is moving up a little bit. These men need to be angled sideways. Then you would have your shields properly facing the Seleucid swordsmen. because these men do have a lot of javelins, and the Greek infantry is not really moved up yet. And these Seleucid cavalry have been taking damage. Why is he targeting the Seleucid cavalry, not the more expensive melee cavalry? It's due to the Seleucid cavalry's speed.
Glory for Macedon! Take aim!
The Seleucid swordsmen are attacking the unshielded side of the bronze pikemen, especially this unit. These men are already dropping quite a lot, and this unit is attacking more. This unit here, so this one is also taking damage. Now the white shield infantry is also hurling at this unit, so you can see the devastation of the fire here. Now this unit is being hit at also from the unshielded side, are also dropping quite a lot, and the Scorpio is targeting the end of the line of the pikemen. Johnny does have superior infantry on the side. He has short pikes, so short pikes can deal with anything on the side here. So yeah, these Seleucid cavalry they're trying to keep their distance here, and then definitely a good move. You can move the Seleucid cavalry here to the side. And this citizen cavalry could be, well, the Scorpio is going to you are forced to keep yourself a distance, but you could move well, you need to move both units to the side here to force Johnny to choose. Johnny is now going full front over this side. This Greek infantry needs, Evilbot needs to angle his pikes and everything else to counter this. The spears did not throw their javelins. The bronze pikemen here are attacking, but they're already damaged. But now, once they're committed, they're a little bit safer from. The Scorpio. The Scorpio did a lot of damage to these pikemen, but this gives Johnny an advantage on this side also. But if you can keep this supporting infantry occupied and get an advantage with the cavalry, that would be good. These Seleucid spears got caught out by the Seleucid swordsmen, and now this Seleucid spear cannot disengage. The pikemen are wavering here. They're exposed on the flank. The Seleucid swordsmen are charging in against the Greek infantry. Greek infantry are not hurling their javelins over here. Now this Greek infantry, however, is properly angled against this bronze pike. But the question is, you should have, well, like you need to weaken this unit up, or you can try to zone out this side. This is a very weak side of pikemen. However, the Seleucid cavalry here are charging in against this Seleucid swordsman, and the Seleucid swordsmen are getting steadied here. You need to retreat this cavalry here. This citizen cavalry of the Seleucids are taking a lot of damage to the Scorpio. This cavalry got caught by the infantry, and the Sarissa Lancers charge in. So the melee cavalry unit coming in here. This melee cavalry should have smashed these white shield infantry. Well done here by the Seleucids getting this bronze pikemen from the sides. These Greek infantry are a bit cheaper than the Seleucid swordsmen. That's their really only advantage, is the cost effectiveness. Because of so he got more value out of his javelins because the Greek infantry are cheaper than the Seleucid swordsmen. However, once their javelins has been spent, the Seleucid swordsmen will have an advantage. The Seleucid swordsmen here are wavering. However, the Seleucid cavalry is being the Seleucid general got caught here. He didn't turn in time. He's not in diamond formation either. And there's more cavalry nearby. Johnny's 200-man general is here. And he will get a clean charge against the Seleucid general. And the Seleucid infantry are not disciplined, except the pikemen. And a war cry has been popped, making this general more nervous. This cavalry is not... Yeah, it's gonna get caught here by the Sarissa Lancers. These royal pikemen are butchering the Seleucid spears. Indian elephants are moving in again. Are they trying to do something else? He's trying to help his general here, but that's not gonna work. The Sarissa Lancers are charging in here against the elephants here in the rear. They're now wavering, and there's some white shield infantry here, and a royal pikeman as well. The Seleucid elephants have been shattered. The Seleucid general has been shattered. There's not much cavalry left now for the Seleucids, and they're wavering. These Greek javelin men are now hurling at this Seleucid swordsman. He needs to hurl at the royal pikeman. But again, he has no cavalry superiority now. So, what is he supposed to do? He has inferior infantry. The white shields are charging into the Greek infantry over here. The Seleucid spears are taking damage from the Scorpio. These bronze pikemen are a little bit outnumbered. The royal pikemen are now shattering these bronze pikemen. This bronze pikeman is now regrouping themselves to be hitting the flanks of this unit. Evilbot tries to regroup this bronze pike to face the enemy properly. However, the royal pikemen are just moving away from this threat. The Greek infantry are very vulnerable now to a side charge like this. Got smashed first by the javelin men, got smashed by the Sarissa. Now the Sarissa are just gonna keep moving here against the Greek infantry, and the Greek infantry are going to rout as soon as they get hit in the rear. They have very poor morale. Now the Sarissa Lancers are now freed up here to charge the side of these bronze pikemen. And again, the royal pikemen are also moving in. These Sarissa Lancers are now hitting this unit and demoralizing this unit as a result. The Greek infantry are now moving in. This horsemen are going for the flank. Now Sarissa Lancers will take damage. They have low armor themselves, so if they just stay in the fight, they will take a lot of damage. Even these swordswomen will do a good job of it. Seleucid spears are killing off the Sarissa Lancers quite well, because this cavalry is standing still. When he realizes this, moves out with his Sarissa Lancers. Tactically, however, there's nothing Evilbot can really do now. The bronze pikemen are wavering, and now the rest of his army is wavering and are shattered. Good game to both players. What cost Evilbot fight the battle here was that he had 5 cavalry. It drained his funds, he had to downgrade his infantry in order to afford it. Macedon is always going to be a big threat, because Macedon can just pin other Sarissa pikemen in place, whilst the short pikes on the flanks will win the battle. Johnny had his Scorpio, and that made it very tricky for the Seleucid player, because he had invested more in cavalry, whilst the Scorpio just shot it down. Again, the Greek infantry are worse than the Seleucid swordsmen. Let's take a look at the price. Now, this citizen cavalry are very expensive, 1,850. didn't really get their value out of it then. Now I would have taken Thessalian cavalry, not because that they can match, but they can match the Sarissa lancers and have diamond formation. I would have taken Silver Shield pikemen. Why? Because they're faster than bronze pikes. They can deny them the proper fight. You saw that the Johnny was pushing one side very hard, so you could have angled yourself to deny where Johnny were attacking, deny him that fight, make Johnny angle it, so that your elephants and cavalry would have be given a better position to flank, whilst you still had an rather even on the other side. So again, it's very in hindsight, but this cavalry can rival Larissa Lancers in the charge. This Tyrios cavalry could have been sent to where on the other side where Johnny were more like defensive. And again, a good job for by both players to hit the unshielded side of the enemy. If Evilbot had angled his pikemen to face to like deny the like not head on against the bronze pikes, angled yourself back, then Johnny wouldn't have been able to hit the unshielded side of the pikemen, which would have reduced your damage. Then his own Tyrosi swordsman would have been better positioned to damage up the enemy. However, the main threat was always going to be by Macedon. If you're facing Macedon, the short pikeman of Macedon is going to be a very big threat. You need to be able to deal with them. But free speed pikeman, angle yourself against the enemy's wrong side, try to hit the other side. These elephants don't get affected by the Scorpio, so either you try to force the other player to hold units back. He can't use all his units because of the elephants are there, or you move your elephants to position first to a place where they can attack, and then you have your cavalry follow up in the last second because of the Scorpio. Try to get yourself a clean charge where you're not blocked, and have a one unit, maybe the Tyrosis cavalry, move way in the back, so if the cavalry of the Macedonians are committed to one side, then this Tyrosis spears cavalry can get the Scorpio, and then once the Scorpio is dealt with, then your other cavalry are more free to operate. Anyway, this is just a thought. Let's see how much can I free up more funds here for another Greek javelin unit here. Just feels a little bit scarce when I don't have 5 cavalry units here. Then it's well, 2 shock cavalry and 2 melee cavalry, and then you still have the 2 spears to help. You have equal. Again, like in this tournament, we have not really seen dominance of heavy infantry. Like it's going to be the pikes, it's going to be lighter infantry for the mostly. We have seen that. So yeah, good game to both players. Bye. I actually changed my mind about what to. So instead of skipping at the Thessalian cavalry, get to Tyrosi cavalry, I kept the Tyrosi cavalry and then skipped the Tyrosi spear instead. This allowed me to get more funds out of it. So I had 2 archers, and these archers can deal with Sarissa lancers. They can shoot up Tyrosi swords, so that's more flexibility. And also a Greek javelin man to still hit more armored targets. Other than that, this may have maybe a better force. Again, the Like I don't need to repeat it. I just yeah, that's really only the thing I wanted to say is that I changed my mind. Keep the Sicilian cavalry here. Just drop a Tyrus spear, and then you have two archers to deal with Sarissa lancers and can hit lighter infantry, or even maybe the royal pikemen on the side, and then you also have a javelin unit. Thank you for watching. Bye.